actually stand right now in May of 2026. Let me start with what happened in Rome because that tournament changed the texture of both players' seasons in ways that matter directly for Strasbourg. Eala entered the Italian Open as the world number 42, still searching for comfort on clay after a stuttering start to her European swing. She lost early in Stuttgart to Leylah Fernandez, 6-1, 6-4, a match where nothing worked. In Madrid, she beat Anastasia Potapova in the opener, and then Elise Mertens took her apart, 2-1. Those results tell a story of a player whose hard-court weapons, the lefty angles, the whip on the forehand, the early ball timing, kept getting smothered by the slower bounce and longer rallies that clay demands. Then Rome happened. Eala opened against Magdalena Frech and won the first set 6-love before the match turned complicated. Frech fought back to take the second, and suddenly the old narrative threatened to reassert itself, the narrative that Eala cannot sustain aggression on dirt for a full match. But here is where something genuinely new occurred. Rather than panicking, rather than overhitting to try to end points faster, Eala told her team afterward that she realized she was not finishing points tired enough. That is an extraordinary piece of self-diagnosis for a 20-year-old in a third set on an unfamiliar surface. She pushed harder physically, won the decider 6-4, and then did something even more impressive the next round. She defeated Wang Xinyu, the 31st seed, in straight sets. 6-4, 6-3. On clay. Against an Olympic silver medalist. She only lost when she ran into Elena Rybakina, the world number 2, in the third round, and even there, the 4-6, 3-6 scoreline showed a player competing, not crumbling. What Rome told the tennis world is that Eala's clay court education has reached a tipping point. She can now win on this surface when things get ugly. She can solve the problems that the bounce presents to her flat, hard court style. She has internalized some of the suffering ethic that the Rafa Nadal Academy brands itself on. She has trained there since she was 13, and the results are finally reflecting it at the highest level. Now let me tell you about Olynikova's Rome, because it was equally revealing, but in entirely different dimensions. The Ukrainian arrived at the Foro Italico ranked 68 in the world after a turbulent spring. She had lost to Simona Waltert in the first round of Madrid, 7-5, 6-love, a collapse in the second set that exposed how quickly her game can unravel when the opponent stops cooperating with her tempo. But in Rome, Oliynykova was a different player. She demolished Petra Marcinko 6-1, 6-3 in the opening round for her first WTA 1000 main draw victory. Then she drew Clara Tauson, the 18th seed, and was winning 6-1, 3-1 when Tauson retired with back pain. The easy read is that she benefited from a walkover. The truer read, if you watch the tennis, is that Oliynykova was administering a tactical clinic. She was not just winning, she was making Tauson visibly confused about how to construct points. In the round of 32, Linda Noskova, the 13th seed, ended the run 6-1, 6-3, a reminder that when a genuine ball striker figures out the pattern, Oleynykova's ceiling arrives fast. So, what is that pattern? What is anti-tennis, and why does it matter for this specific matchup? Oliynykova plays defense as offense. She slices backhands with heavy underspin that die at the baseline. She lifts moon balls that arc high enough to land deep but arrive with strange rotation that makes the next shot awkward to time. She varies pace obsessively, sometimes hitting 3 consecutive balls at totally different speeds. She invites opponents to hit winners, then positions herself in the court so precisely that those attempted winners become errors. When a player like Tauson or Marcinko tries to slug through her, they lose patience by the middle of the first set. The balls keep coming back. Not hard, not clean, not pretty, but back. This is not a style that works against everyone. Players who move forward confidently, who volley well, who can construct points through angle rather than pace, they tend to solve Oliynykova. Players who rely on baseline power, who need rhythm to find their timing, who get frustrated when their best shots are neutralized, they struggle. The question for Strasbourg is, which category does Alex Eala fall into right now? 12 months ago, the answer would have been clear. Eala's game was built almost entirely on timing and pace. She hit early, she redirected beautifully, She used the left-handed angles to stretch opponents. But she needed the ball to come at her at a consistent speed so she could calibrate her swing. A junk balling, rhythm-disrupting opponent would have been a nightmare. But the Eala of May 2026 is not the Eala of May 2025. This clay season has added layers to her game that did not exist before. The way she managed the third set against Freck, accepting longer rallies, finding depth on her ground strokes without requiring the pace coming off the other racket, suggests she has developed the muscle memory to generate her own power even when the incoming ball is slow and dead. The way she dispatched Wang Xinyu in the second round showed tactical intelligence. She moved the ball side to side, waited for short balls, and punished them with precise angles rather than pure force. Still, Oleynykova's brand of disruption is not something Eala has faced at this level. There is no player in the top 100 who plays quite like the Ukrainian. The closest comparison might be someone like Ons Jabeur with her slices and variety, but Jabeur pairs that with genuine offensive weapons. Oleynykova does not. She is purely and completely a defensive architect, and that purity makes her paradoxically dangerous, because there is no break in the pattern to exploit. Here is what I think matters tactically. Eala is left-handed. Her cross-court forehand naturally goes to Oleynykova's backhand side, which is where the Ukrainian wants to slice from. If Eala gets into cross-court backhand rallies with Oleynykova, she is playing directly into the style. Those slices will come back low, forcing Eala to bend and lift, and the Filipina's ability to generate angles from a low ball on her backhand wing is still developing. The key for Eala is to use her forehand inside out, to redirect play toward Oleynykova's forehand side, and to move the Ukrainian laterally rather than engaging in the cross-court exchanges she wants. The serve will also be a factor, but perhaps not in the way most people expect. Eala's serve has been a work in progress all season. Her first serve percentage in Rome hovered around 60%, which is workable but not dominant. Against Oleynykova, who is an elite returner in the sense that she gets every ball back, the serve does not need to be an ace machine. What it needs to be is a placement tool. If Eala can serve wide to the ad court with her left-handed slice, pulling Oleynykova off the court, the subsequent short ball becomes available immediately. If she serves into the body, she eliminates the angle on the return and can dictate with her second shot. Oleynykova's serve, meanwhile, is genuinely limited. She does not generate significant pace or spin on it. What she does is place it consistently deep, which on clay is enough to start the rally on her terms. But it is also an invitation for Eala to step in aggressively on the return. Eala's return game has been solid this season. She ranked in the top 30 for return points won during the hard-court swing, and if she can take that early ball aggression into the return against Oleynykova's modest delivery, she can immediately pressure the Ukrainian into defense, which, paradoxically, is where Oleynykova wants to be. The trick is to be aggressive enough on the return to generate a short ball on the second shot, but not so aggressive that you make unforced errors against a serve that does not require risky returns. There is a psychological dimension here that I want to name directly, especially for the Filipino fans watching this match with enormous investment. Eala has spoken openly about the crowds, about the queues wrapping around stadiums, about the overwhelming support from the Filipino diaspora at every tournament she plays. She told Andy Roddick on his podcast that she spent time in denial about her own fame before accepting it and choosing gratitude. That emotional maturity matters because this match will not provide the catharsis of a big-name upset. Oleynykova is ranked 68. She is not a household name. If Eala wins, it will not generate the same headlines as beating Wang Xinyu or pushing Rybakina. And if she loses to a defensive player on clay, in a match that gets slow and frustrating, the discourse will be unforgiving in a way that does not reflect the actual complexity of what happened on court. I want Filipino fans to understand something about this matchup that the rankings do not show. Oleynykova is a clay court specialist. Her favorite surface, her highest percentage tennis, her most dangerous configurations, they all live on red dirt. She reached her career high of 66 on this surface. She won 3 WTA 125 titles in the autumn of last year, all on clay. She took a set off Madison Keys at the Australian Open, which was impressive, but hard courts are where she is weakest. Here in Strasbourg, on slow European clay in the final week before Roland Garros, Oliynykova is in her element. She is not a lesser opponent just because her ranking is lower than Eala's. She is, for this specific surface and this specific week, a genuinely difficult puzzle. And yet here is why I believe Eala will solve it. The tools she demonstrated in Rome were precisely the tools this match requires. The patience in the third set against Freck. The angle construction against Wang. The physical willingness to extend rallies and win them through attrition rather than brilliance. Eala does not need to play beautiful tennis to win this match. She needs to play smart tennis, patient tennis, and occasionally, when the short ball arrives, clinical tennis. The Strasbourg clay is slow. Slower than Madrid, similar to Rome. It will give Eala time to set up her shots, which is what she needs when the incoming pace is low. It will give Oliynykova time to get back into position, which is what she needs to execute her defensive architecture. The rally length in this match will be longer than anything Eala faced in Rome. That is the adaptation she must make, accepting 12-ball rallies as the norm rather than the exception, and maintaining her shot selection discipline through the repetition. I want to mention one more thing about Oliynykova because her story deserves respect regardless of the competitive outcome. This is a player whose father joined the Ukrainian armed forces in 2024, who trains in a city under regular bombardment, who takes overnight trains to borders to reach tournaments, who slept in camper vans and airports when her prize money had not arrived, who has been vocal and uncompromising about the war, wearing protest shirts to press conferences, refusing handshakes with players she believes have supported the Russian regime. When she says she plays for her father's army unit, the soldiers who texted her after Wimbledon qualifying and told her not to quit, she means it with a literalness that most athletes never have to carry. This context does not change the tactical analysis. It does not make Oleynykova's slice heavier or her movement faster, but it explains the psychological fortification that makes her so difficult to break down in matches. A player who has experienced genuine existential threat does not get rattled by a break of serve or a tough call from the chair umpire. That calm is a weapon on clay, where patience wins rallies and composure wins sets. For Eala, the weapon is different but equally real. She carries something genuine, not just expectation, but genuine national pride distilled into athletic purpose. When she told the Roland Garros website that she is proud to be part of the Southeast Asian wave alongside Janice Jen and Lana Terrudi, she was describing something larger than personal ambition. The Filipino crowds, the support, the awareness that her success opens doors for an entire generation, that is not pressure in the traditional sense. It is fuel, and Eala has shown this season that she knows how to burn it efficiently. My assessment of this match: Eala wins in 3 sets. I think she takes the first set by playing aggressive, dictating play with her forehand, and catching Oliynykova before the Ukrainians' rhythm disruption takes full hold. I think the second set tightens as Oliynykova adjusts,